is true. The Shaolin and the Wu-Tang could be dangerous. Do you think your Wu-Tang saw Kenji pick me? On guard. Let me try my Wu-Tang style. So bring it on! 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 So bring it on!
Sorry, that was really cringy, but that's okay. Hello everyone, welcome back to the DSP channel. It has felt like it's been ages since I've released or uploaded a video on this channel, just due to a couple of life changes and things that have been happening or going on my life journey so far. So I thought that now I have the time to cultivate my peace and my zen and my woo, or whatever you want to call it, to kind of focus on this channel as much as I can. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys are having a good time wherever you are, enjoying the weather, and of course if there's any challenges, any obstacles that you might be dealing with at the current moment in time, do know that things are temporary, and sometimes life is not always set in stone. I know, easier said than done, but I do want to send any best wishes to anyone out there who is dealing with anything right now. You are definitely not alone, and I hope that you overcome any sort of challenges or obstacles in your way as much as possible. You can do it. I believe in you. Just a little spiel coming from me. But today's video, I really want to talk about one of my, well, I guess you could say one of the topics that I'm quite passionate about and that I have a lot of interest in and very intrigued by is behind the scenes stuff when it comes to movies, and especially I want to talk about the stunt community and stunt people and why I just happen to love and admire stunt people and stunt work. You can probably tell, for those of you who know where this t-shirt is coming from, if you know, you know. And if you don't know, I highly recommend that you check out what this says, Martial Club. Just look it up, you'll find lots of cool shenanigans on Google. And they do have a YouTube channel and a social media page. So I'm gonna just leave it there for now, and the rest you will find out on your own. Yeah, I love Martial Club. They're just such an amazing, phenomenally talented group of individuals and artists, creative artists. And free-spirited souls, really. This has been something that I've been pondering, that I've thought a lot about as a fellow action cinema geek, action cinema fan, martial arts cinema fan. I always, surprisingly, despite loving the films themselves, martial arts, kung fu cinema, and of course the actors that we all know, Bruce Lee, Jet Li, Donnie, Yuen, Sammo Hung, and a lot of many other well-known, like Jackie Chan, of course. How could I miss him? Oh my goodness. You see, it's been a while since I've done a video, but of course those guys are a given. It's automatic that it's likely that a lot of people look up to them like I do as well. But one thing for sure that I really admire about these movies, and what I really appreciate, is the people behind these films. And me being an action cinema geek, I think for someone like me, what I like to do is watch the behind the scenes stuff. So again, for some of you who might know or don't know, I do have a Kung Fu cinema collection. Not a vast, big one, but I do have one of all my all-time favorite martial arts films that I've watched since childhood and up until now. I do have, a collection somewhat, but it's not super big, right? And so for me, I love watching, especially the DVDs that I buy. If they have a special features area, I will definitely, watch it, because I watch everything, right? I'm always very curious when it comes to, the use of, if there's wire work, CGI, but most importantly, when it comes to the action design and fight choreography aspect in there. And of course, other stunts that are involved in any of types of these films, right? So I'm not sure if many of you are like this, but for me, I'm a huge fan and enthusiast when it comes to action choreography and the action design portion. And again, as I mentioned previously, I love watching the behind the scenes of how fight coordinators and stunt coordinators kind of do their magic, right? And when you come to think about it, if it's a fight sequence or sequence that, when it's a fight scene or fight sequence that probably is from between, 2 to almost 10 minutes, or I don't know how long, depending on the content or the context of the story, the narrative. Usually fight scenes are quite short, but there are multiple fight sequences in a film. It goes by super fast, right? It goes by like a breeze, but the amount of work, the amount of effort that gets put into these pieces are so challenging, and they're just super, they're so in-depth, and they're very, very complex, right? And sometimes it makes me wonder, man, these guys deserve so much more recognition. I feel like, you know, for some of you out there who know what the Taurus Awards are, and for those of you who don't know what it is, Taurus World Stunt Awards are basically the Oscars version for stunt people in the stunt community. And you know, as much as that kind of is a way to kind of be used as, you know, oh, this is the chance where stunt performers in the stunt community get their work recognized, it's still not damn enough for y'all, you know? I feel like, and especially if you're a fellow stunt guy, stunt gal, stunt man, stunt woman, stunt person, performer who is watching this video, I just want to say I salute you guys, because I totally feel like you guys are the ones who are immersing us into that sequence, whether it's a chase sequence, you know, or there's some sort of a fight scene, right? These guys work their butts off to really entertain us. I will say that action choreography is difficult. For someone like me who A, I am not an action choreographer or stunt coordinator, and B, I am also not a stunt performer, you can tell as a viewer how much work people put into these pieces, right? And you can definitely see, like, you know, when I was a kid, and even when I was much younger, right? When I would see films or like any Marvel related film when I was a teenager, I would think, oh my god, like, you know, that's Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow. She can really kick ass on screen. Or like, hey, look, it's Chris Evans or Captain America. He's doing all those cool things. He can probably do that in real life, right? And of course, my teenage brain at the time was just, you know, assuming those things. But, you know, it wasn't until later on I realized that, oh, they got stunt doubles, right? So that's how obviously movies are meant to be. It's immerse you in that universe and for you to kind of imagine. It's a chance for you to kind of take your imagination wherever it goes, right, depending on the narrative. But in all general cases, and the technicalities, the logistics of it all, there are stunt doubles required for certain actors or actresses, right? So for those of you who are also like me and you're a fan of Indonesian action cinema, and especially the Raid films, the Raid 1 and the Raid 2 Berendal, I think that if you've had the chance to watch the behind the scenes of both films, it is phenomenally amazing. Like, I can't tell you how much admiration that I have for someone like Uwais, because, I mean, obviously he's a professional silat master and he's a martial artist himself, and also an action choreographer too, fight choreographer as well. How much time it takes for those guys to kind of, you know, build a scene, and how much work gets involved, like even the lighting and the sound effects, VFX is also involved. Like, there's so many other departments that are involved in just a specific type of sequence, and you realize that, man, you know, it's a lot harder than you think it is, you know, compared to watching the film. The scene goes by super fast, and you're just like, well, there's a lot of hands that were put onto this specific scene, you know, and how much work gets involved. If you've had the chance to see the special features, the behind the scenes footage of how much work got involved into that fight scene between Joe Taslim's character Jaka with Mad Dog, played by Yuen, you would just think, oh man. Like, and the fact that I remember watching and just hearing remarks about Gareth Evans as a director and how much of a perfectionist he is for these scenes, and I would assume a lot of other action choreographers, fight coordinators, and even filmmakers are like that too, but I remember seeing it and just being like, oh damn, like, and I think I remember seeing Joe Taslim talking about how hard he had to hit Yayan and how much effort his character had to, you know, put into that fight scene, because he was fighting Mad Dog, right? And we're talking about Yayan here. And if you haven't seen Boy Kills World, the reason why I pretty much watched Boy Kills World was because of Yayan. So, you know, of course, the Silat Master that we all know from the Raid. And of course, I think another iconic fight scene that was so awesome was the drug lab scene, right? Between Iko's character and a lot of the other, the bad guys are in there. I think I recall Iko had like chicken pox or something. He couldn't do a fight scene, but he still had to come to work that day to do another scene, a sequence. And that just cracked me because I was just like, yeah, you know, and that's pretty much why now he's well known as, you know, one of the most prominent and well-known figures in Indonesian action cinema, right? And of course, in the world of Pencak Silat, right? Indonesian action cinema has a special place in my heart, and I will express that for another time. Not to mention, I also feel like, you know, people who are working behind the scenes in cinematography or even the DP, right? They're also hella badass too. So if you're a DP watching this video, again, I salute you, man, because you're the one who is in charge of basically filming a certain sequence, and especially fight sequences, they can get pretty messy, right? And it takes a lot of talent and skill to really try to film an action or a fight sequence that's not going to make people dizzy or, you know, give them a headache. And I will say that I was surprised when it came to like films like The Raid, because you would expect that, you know, shake cam, you know, type of movement involved, but it didn't really have that, and it had more of a different immersive sort of film effect in there. I love watching behind the scenes footage of how a film, whether it's an indie film or it's a mainstream action film or a Marvel film or any kind of, well, you know, kung fu film, martial arts film, where you see how the choreographers, the stunt team kind of works together, right? And I love seeing those parts where you see, like, you know, people using the boxes and they're kind of just, you know, either if it's like, you know, a film, there's wire work involved, you see people flying across the room, you know, you see other people punching and throwing kicks, you know, here and there. And it's really nice to see how physical and how complex a lot of these scenes can be, right? And how the artistic elements, you know, having that artistic eye, that keen eye for detail that's required to, you know, see what looks good on screen versus realism, right? And I think it takes a lot of talent and, again, you know, dedication and effort to be able to decipher, you know, how well made a scene like this has to be, right? And of course, us as viewers, you know, the audience is very intelligent, and us as viewers, we know what looks good and what doesn't look good, what looks choppy, what looks really, you know, crappy in a sense. To make a very high quality like fight sequence or fight scene, it takes a lot of time and a lot of talent involved. I often, you know, I'm crossing my fingers that hopefully sometime in the future that there is going to be a category for stunts in the Oscars. I know, again, the Taurus World Stunts Awards are there, but I do feel like there's a need to have these people, these stunt performers, the stunt community, to be recognized for their work. And I think recently there was a film, I think it was released in May, early May, The Fall Guy. I think it was directed by David Leitch. It really, you know, set the tone and set the image of how a stunt performer goes through his job, right? It really helps people, us as viewers, and for those who are unaware of the procedure and the types of complexities that there might be when it comes to stunt performing, or when it comes to, you know, directing or filming a sequence of that nature. I also recently, I went to a screening and a panel quite recently earlier this month, where it was about stunt women. And this is kind of a topic that I've also been pondering about, because when you think about it, the stunt community is quite male-dominated in a sense, but there are some very prominent stunt women figures who are very well known for their work, right? And a couple of women that I can think of, and I know it's sad that I say a couple because I'm pretty sure there are a lot, but, you know, they have not been, you know, recognized on screen for the most part. But I know that there's people like Heidi Moneymaker, there's Debbie Evans, Amy Johnston. You know, I also really like that. Maybe some of you have seen it before, but it's been, you know, circulating around the internet for quite a while. It's not new, and I wouldn't be surprised too that there's like a meme with Jackie Chan. It's saying, like, you know, actors and their stunt double, and you see, I think it was like Dwayne The Rock Johnson, Tom Cruise. I can't forget there was another person as well, Will Smith, I think. I don't know if it was Will Smith, but another actor. And then you see Jackie Chan, he's just, you know, putting his arm on the chair and there's like nobody there. And it's like, yeah, he does everything himself, right? And so I feel like, you know, that just made me laugh so hard, because I was just like, yeah, Jackie can get it, man. And what I really love about his films, especially when it comes to the Golden Harvest era, or even his much older films, and even up to even Rush Hour, they showed too, the scenes at the end when the credits start to roll, especially if you've seen Golden Harvest films, where you see the parts where they're just like cut, and then you see like he fails a stunt, or like, you know, he falls down and he's just like, yeah, I'm okay, or whatever, and you see him, you know, people are just putting ice on his head or something like that. I think when we perceive such sequences or films through a critical lens or an analytical lens, these types of scenes are a lot more than just violence themselves, right? And I also think it's a part of the director or the filmmaker's process to tell the story through the action, right? As many action films are nowadays are trying to convey, is the action has to tell a story, right? And so it's not just violence, but there's emotions involved, or there's a sense of the content and the context is very in-depth in a sense, or it can be straightforward, and sometimes those are called B-level graded action movies, but who cares? We love them, or I love them at least. Oh, and I also want to mention too, since we are talking about the realm of stunts and fight choreography specifically, There are a couple of fight teams or stunt teams that I also follow that I really admire. So if you guys want to check out their work and the movies that they've been a part of, then I highly recommend you do. And this is not just me kind of, you know, saying it to promote these teams, but I'm just kind of sharing and expressing my admiration and love for the amount of effort and commitment that these teams, you know, bring to life on screen through these action sequences. And if it wasn't for these guys and the action design, you know, you probably just would never know and expect that, damn, this is the crew that's, you know, involved and in charge of, you know, creating these and designing these scenes, right? Along with the directors and filmmakers, of course. There's the Uwais team. The Uwais team, I think, is led by Uwais again, and I think they've done a lot of work that's involved in films like the Raid series, Headshot. I believe Marantao as well. That was Iko's first film, but I don't know. They were involved in a lot of his projects and a lot of Gareth Evans' films in Indonesia. There's also the Ronin action group. That's led by Sunny Peng, and if you don't know who Sunny Peng is, I highly recommend that you watch Headshot because he's the main villain playing in that film. And Sunny, if you're watching this video, I just want to say hello and that I love your work. Those guys from Martial Club, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but for those of you who don't know, check out their channels and their socials because you probably won't regret it. If you're a Kung Fu fan, at least, I don't think you'll regret it. And it really speaks to my soul because those guys, they really focus a lot on, or emphasize a lot on old school martial arts films and a lot of Shaolin related shenanigans. It's, you know, Kung Fu related stuff if you're a big fan of that too, and Kung Fu cinema, old school Kung Fu cinema. So I highly recommend you check them out if you don't know them. Team Red Pro, another one of my favorite indie film groups. Again, if you don't know them and if you've never checked them out, I highly recommend that you check their channel. They've got some good stuff out there and I really love their films because it's just super creative. It's so unique. You don't see films of that nature being put out. One of my favorite films that they've done, I think it was called Red Rising and Twisting Tiger. Those two are my favorite films. So a lot of emphasis on old school Kung Fu martial arts ethics and, you know, perseverance and determination, karma, and all those kind of, it's a very philosophical touch to those films, and they have a lot of action involved too. So and I would say Red Rising it gives a Flashpoint / Killzone vibe from Donnie, Yuen. I don't know, you'll understand what I mean if you watch the short films. But again, Twisting Tiger and Red Rising, my two favorite films done by Team Red Pro. Dragon Lords, they're also a fellow martial arts group that focus a lot on creating indie films inspired by, again, Kung Fu classics that you probably see, 36 Chambers of Shaolin, very much old school related. So if you like stuff like that, I highly recommend that y'all check out their channel because they've got some really good flicks on there. You got 8711 Action. They're pretty much well known and have done a lot of work involved with the John Wick franchise as well as Atomic Blonde. Donnie Yen, I don't know if he has a stunt team, but I recall someone, you know, commenting on a posting that there is something called Donnie Yen stunt team. I have no clue, but if there is, I'm pretty sure that they're awesome. For those of you who are fans of old school Shaw Brothers films, fight choreographers like Lau Galer, he is the most prominent figure of Shaw Brothers old school. We're talking about Hong Kun, Hong Ga-kun, we're talking about Hong Gar, right? For those of you who are aware of that, right? The ones where they go like this, right? You know, Hong Kun, you know, he's obviously the grandmaster of that school of practice and of that martial arts style. He's probably the most well known for choreographing the 36th Chamber of Shaolin, dudes. Like, honestly, that Mad Monkey Kung Fu, we're talking about that as well. We're talking about so many amazing films that he's done for Shaw Brothers too, right? And his was definitely more focused on traditional Kung Fu boxing and, you know, styles, animal forms, and line dancing involved as well. And so has always been one of my all-time favorite OGs when it comes to, you know, Hong Kong cinema, action cinema, fight choreography, and Kung Fu choreography as well. You can't forget a legend like Yuen, right? The man, you know, responsible for the Tai Chi Master, the Matrix, right? Stuff like that, you know, very elegant and vast movement, you know, a very legendary Hong Kong action fight choreographer and action designer, I believe. I also really like Panna Rittikrai. I think he was pretty much responsible for doing stunt work and the action design. I think it was action design, yeah. yeah, I don't know. The choreography involved in Ong Bak, so of course, Thai cinema, guys, Panna Rittikrai, is very much well known for that specific film and the film series as well. I think he also did some work in chocolate. I don't know. Please correct me if I'm wrong, if anyone knows about that. Yuen, hello. Yes, anyways, I'll leave it at that. AC Stunts, Yannick Ben, and Studio 68. Now, those might seem a little bit unfamiliar for some of you, but if not, and for those of you who don't know, they are the ones who were responsible for the stunts and the action design and choreography for the film Fury. If you have not seen Fury, it is a wonderfully, beautifully shot and hardcore revenge story, starring Veronica Ngo. Ngo, I think is how you pronounce her last name. I'm so sorry if I butchered her last name, but it's a great, you know, action film, action thriller. There's also another stunt team called Bruce Law Stunt, and those guys, if you haven't heard of them, they do a lot of car sequences, car chase sequences, and I think a lot of their work was involved in the Raid 2 Brandao. I remember seeing the behind the scenes footage and how a lot of the car chase scenes, I think there was a scene, if you remember the character Eka from the part where he was being chased by another dude in their gang, right? In their crime group. Yeah, all the car stunts involved and the way how they were doing the cinematography involved in the car. Go check it out, guys. Go check it out. I highly recommend that you check out their work. They do a lot of, I think, stunts related to the Hong Kong action sphere as well. Kenji Tanigaki. He has done a lot of work as well. He's been around and he's still around. I think he's he's working on a film called The Furious, and oh my gosh, guys, it's starring Brian Love from Martial Club. Oh my goodness, this makes me so happy because if you've been a fan of those guys from Martial Club since the beginning that they started the channel, which I was, and just how far that the brothers have come, you know, I know Andy Lo was part of him and his brothers were part of the film Everything Everywhere All at Once, right? They did the action sequence there, and now you got Brian Le starring in a Kenji Tanigaki film along with Joe Taslim and Yan Moon, guys. Hello. Such a big step, and you know, I just want to give a round of applause because if you've been, as I said, a long-time Martial Club fan, this is a big deal, right? And it was for me when I got the news and I watched, you know, I saw the article about it and I was just like, oh my god, yo, the brothers are going places, this is so nice. J.J. Perry is another one of my favorite action choreographers as well. Brahim Chab, I believe he was the choreographer, the action choreographer involved in Monkey Man, Dev Patel's Monkey Man, which is also a really good film, action film too. It's got that gritty, the Ray John Wick type of feel to it as well. And yeah, the action there was very, very intense, and so I highly recommend that you check out his work too and the films that he's been a part of. The team Hitz International Real Power Stunts, as well as Brett Chan. Brett Chan, I believe he was involved in stunts involved in the Snowpiercer, as well as I think the new film Kill. If you haven't had a chance to watch Kill, it's a bloody good film. But I'm gonna just leave it at that. Directed by Nikhil Nageshbhat. If any of you who are watching this are part of a stunt team, or that you are a fellow action choreographer, or you're just a stunt performer, or you're just like me, an enthusiast of people in this industry and of this field, you know, I just want to say I absolutely love and respect the amount and the work that you guys do, because it's because of you guys that you guys bring these scenes to life, right? And of course there's a lot of other departments involved, but you guys are the one who are owning the scenes, right? You guys are the ones who are kicking ass on screen, who are being total badasses, and the real life superheroes too. So, you know, kudos to you guys out there who are part of the stunt community. I fully support you guys. You know, I always support you guys, you know, no matter what. And I just want to say that, you know, it really has inspired me to look at action films in a different lens, and especially martial arts films and other films that involve stunts, you know, just how much work is involved and how tiring it can be for someone to have to, you know, constantly repeat a scene or fight sequence or stunt sequence so many times because, you know, a kick wasn't executed properly, or that punch was not, the distance was not, it was missed out in the frame or something, right? So crossing my fingers one more time that, you know, that the stunt community and stunt performers do get a chance and a spot to be fully recognized in the Oscars, not just mentioned, but that they do get a chance to be fully present there and to have their work shown in a different light, because you know what? things gotta change, you know, and that's just me being a viewer myself. Just coming from a personal opinion, I do hope that more recognition gets involved within the stunt community, and that action choreographers, fight choreographers, stunt coordinators also do get recognized for their talents, right, in designing these sequences and compiling them, right, and just, you know, bringing these beautifully pieced scenes to life like no